Yo, bro, I'm low-key faded, bro.
Ay, güey.
What's this guy supposed to be, the ultimate badass?
They ain't ready. They ain't ready, Jim. They ain't ready. Here we go.
I'm gonna go around here, guys.
I was like, what is it? You ain't Mexican. What is that?
Kind of looks it a little bit though, so dig a little deep in there, right? But yeah, he's got that. He did that.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's show of the Frisco Report. Tonight is a night of nights, baby. Boom! All right. We're live in full effect. It is the Frisco Report, bros. Good to see everybody in the chat box. Thank you for joining us live and around the nation. We got a lot to talk about today. Main topic, as you can tell here, Cowboys officially eliminated, right? So that also means eliminated from the playoff contention, an NFC Championship appearance for the 30th year. It's the 30th anniversary, man. So no NFC Championship, no Super Bowl, right? Cowboys last Super Bowl 30 years ago officially will be like February 6th, 1996, right? So that will be the official date right there, man. So it's a sad day indeed, man. Cowboys have reached a feat that many of us had hoped to avoid, and I don't think any of us during this time that grew up during that time that went through the 90s dynasty thought that we would go 30 straight years without an NFC Championship or even a Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think anybody could have seen that. You know what I mean? I'm obviously, yeah, maybe a down season here or there, but to not even sniff it, not even sniff a conference championship, man. They have gotten to the point where, you know, the divisional round is their peak, and usually the result has been an upset, you know, a choke job. So a lot to think about here for the Jones family. I mean, it has to sink in now, man. I mean, you would think it would, but do they care? You know what I mean? 30 years, they're the highest valued franchise in all of sports, and that number keeps on going up. You know what I mean? So I think they're at 20-something billion right now. That's probably going to jump up to like 30 or something like this, maybe 40. Who knows? But I think that enables this front office to keep doing what they're doing. You know, as far as like, hey, we're bringing the numbers, we're bringing the viewers. We're content on, you know, staying in the news. Jerry Jones has said this himself, right? So it's crazy, man. It's a crazy thing to think that we haven't been able to get there. You know what I mean? And this is another failed season. It's a failed season. You know what I mean? They talk about CeeDee Lamb, 5 1,000-yard seasons in a row. I mean, that's good for individual accolades, right? But we want Super Bowls here, man. We want Super Bowls here. They announced the Pro Bowl, guys. I don't give a crap about the Pro Bowl nominations. I mean, good for those guys that really deserved it. You know what I mean? Some of them might have gotten it through luck, but some of them did deserve it. You know, to a certain degree. But it's about the team, all right. And then the Cowboys front office has failed us again. All right. 30 seasons of this, some shocking. There was points along the way where we were a first round seed bye week, one and done. All right. 2016, Zeke and Dak Prescott rookie season. That looked like a magical season. They couldn't do it. They couldn't beat the Packers. All right. It's just they just have all kinds of seems like a curse. You know what I mean? You have the Romo bumbling of holding the field goal kick under Parcells. Parcells couldn't believe it. That pretty much sent him into retirement. And just a lot of bad luck along the way. You know what I mean? It's just it's unbelievable, man. What do they need to do? What could they possibly do at this point? And the answer is in front of them. The answer has been in front of them since Jimmy left the building. They don't have that GM. They don't have that legit talent evaluator who knows. All right. They don't have it. We've had so many bad trades. We've lost more trades than we've won. You know what I mean? I don't know that we have won any trades. We'll see how this Parsons trade, Quinn Williams trade pans out, but all the other ones, they've just been minimal. It hasn't been anything that really puts you over the edge, like when Jimmy brought in Charles Haley to put that team's defense over the hump, and we went on to the Super Bowls. All right, motherfuckers. 30 years, bro. 30 years of nothing. So, my question to you guys, everybody that's watching, the billions around the world watching, because we have billions of Cowboys fans all over the place, is what in your opinion needs to change? If you could do it, if you could make a change to this front office, what would it be? You know what I mean? I think a lot of us would say that Jerry needs to step away from the general manager position, retire from there. I don't even think it should be Stephen Jones either. I think the family needs to enable somebody to take over football operations, kind of like the Denver Broncos did with Elway, how the 49ers have done it with, John Lynch. These guys, the owners, they write the checks, but let these dudes, build the roster, build the team, build the culture. And that's going to be the cutoff, you know what I mean? And I don't know if we're ever going to see that, man. Jerry talked about, we need to do some changes. We're going to evaluate. How do you evaluate yourself, right? That's the main crux of this thing. Is how does Jerry Jones evaluate himself? And would he be humble enough to be like, all right, I'm close to death's door. I'm going to step away and just write the checks and enable somebody here to do it. And it can't be his sons, because they've been trained under him. So it's the same bullshit. These guys, Stephen Jones, I remember for a while, a lot of us were like, Stephen Jones, once he takes over, it's going to get better. I think he could be even worse. All right. Stephen Jones could actually be worse. So they need to go ahead and restructure, reorg the front office like some of these modern NFL teams have done. You know what I mean? They need to modernize the front office. They've been stuck in this, the way they run the front office from the 90s, right? And then they never adapted. They never adapted with Jimmy leaving here. You know what I mean? Barry Switzer got that Super Bowl through the grit and will of the players. We've all seen the specials, with a Troy Aikman and these guys. They willed themselves to win that Super Bowl. One more for the Gipper, right? So, but other than that, man, what they have in place just isn't getting it done, right? It's another failed season, and you can almost see it, bro. As the offseason progresses, you can almost see like, here we go again, bro. You know what I mean? But they try to sell it, and there's a big part of the fan base that does buy into it. They reinvest and they get hyped up. And the Cowboys, they're $1 billion company. They're really good at hyping it up. You know what I mean? They have a team, the media team that hypes up the hell out of this out of the Cowboys, the players and Jerry and everything like that, right? So, and the fans, there's a big portion that do get, you know, they fall for it. They fall for the trap. Like, okay, this is the year. But a lot of us that have come to the conclusion that this is the same old, same old. You can see the writing on the wall, right? Like when McCarthy didn't get extended, and they were dragging this shit along. I knew it wasn't going to end good, dude. I was like, these guys are totally fucking this shit up, dude. They didn't bring in Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, you know, some of these other top flight type of dudes, right? Ben Johnson would have been a good one. You know what I mean? I mean, look what he's done with the shitty Bears, man. With Caleb Williams, USC, you know, quarterback. Look what he's done with that, dude. You know what I mean? So they messed up royally with that. We got Brian Schottenheimer, you know, head coach in training, kind of like a Jason Garrett. You know what I mean? Brian Schottenheimer for the most of the season has been able to kind of deflect his deficiencies. Oh, but they got the #1 offense and this and that. He's culpable in this season as well, man. You know, he didn't speak up and say at the bye week, he should have stood up and said, we got to get the fuck rid of Eberflus and try something else. But he has no power, right? So we'll see what they do with the defensive coordinating search. You know, and Cowboys are going to, you know, give that to the fans. You know, they know that they fucked up there, so they'll probably be like, okay, let's try to find a defensive coordinator here and rehype this shit up and see. But it won't make any difference if they don't change what they do in free agency. You know what I mean? Like for example, what have they been doing the last 5-10 years in free agency? They go and get the familiar name, the former bust, right? Oh, he was a former first round pick. He was a 30 visit for the Cowboys 4 years ago. We can bring him in here and turn him into something. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked, but they keep doing it. Like Jerry, he needs to wake up and be like, the way McClay is bringing these dudes in here is not working. You know what I mean? Somehow McClay has convinced these dudes that he knows what the hell he's doing. Offensively, they've done a little bit better, you know, drafting. But the free agents, man, you do have to have a decent haul of free agents. It can't be, you know, wait around and get the backup linebacker and think he's gonna be something, right? Like we did that with freaking what's his name, right? I already forgot his fucking name. What was the name of the dude that we brought in here, the linebacker from the Bears? What the fuck was his name? He sucked. He was a backup linebacker, right? For Eberflus with the Bears, but they sold it like, oh, this guy's gonna be something. You know, God, dude, what the heck was his name, dude? Sanborn. There you go. Thank you, Toad French. Sanborn. The Sanborn identity. That guy sucked, dude. Peyton Turner, right? This guy. No, another first round bust. Guy sucks. He's barely gonna maybe even practice at the end of the season. Perion Winfrey, they made a big old deal about acquiring him from the UFL or whatever the hell they're calling that league now. They made a big old thing about it. Like that was their feel good story. Every season the Cowboys have that feel good story. whether it's a free agent or somebody that they draft. As soon as he made the team, the fucker was out. Like, what the fuck is going on, dude? You know what I mean? And then you have these guys, they continue to draft injured players. They continue to draft players that get mangled by Dr. Cooper. You know what I mean? So in this draft, we're going to keep an eye on those guys, and we'll continue to give you Will McClay type of drafts. That's what we did with Danny and I the other night. If you missed that video, go check it out. We gave you our version of what we would do in the draft, but then we also gave you guys a Will McClay mock draft. Like, what the fuck would that look like? And we looked. We I think we did a really good job. Like, they have an MO now. The injured guys, the guys who have on the field, off field issue guys, you know, the dudes that were off a year and then they came back another year, or, you know, these types of players, right? You know, they're fixated on the measurables, right? They won't get a playmaker who doesn't fit their 6 foot and up at safety or cornerback or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Asante Samuel was a free agent, right? And he had a neck issue, but it came back. You know, they I forgot who had signed him. Came back and was already making plays, dude. Cowboys didn't even look at him during the draft. Didn't even look at him during free agency. Guy can play, man. You know, so but they'll go give you the injured guy, you know. That's what they like to do. You know, they like to go and get these deals. You know what I mean? Where they're giving this impression that they're hitting a home run, and you see it every post draft conference. They sell it to the fans like, oh, we had a 3rd round grade on him, but we were able to steal him in the 5th round. So some of the fans that don't know any better, they repeat what they're being told, right? So that, oh man, we got this dude in the 5th round. The Cowboys had a 3rd round grade on him. That's what they did with this Jadon Blue fucking dude, man. This dude. Why did they draft this guy, man? He inactive pretty much the whole season, right? And then they said he needed to mature, and you know, those types of things like that. That's on these guys, man. Why did you draft that dude, man? Like, give me real football players. They still exist in this day and age. There are still some of these really good throwback, bleed for football type of players. They're still out there. The Cowboys, they seem like they're not into that right now. They got to shake it up, man. You know what I mean? They have to shake it up, bro. If they don't shake up what they've been doing in the scouting department and in the draft, you know, they're gonna fail there too, man. Taco Charlton, bro. Over TJ Watt, you have Mozzie Smith over Bergeron. Bergeron has ended up being the better player. McCarthy got screwed on that deal. You know what I mean? That offensive line, Cowboys offensive line right now, like, is it good? What do you guys grade the current offensive line of the Cowboys? Guyton, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, Booker, and Terrence Steele. Like, give me a grade. What would you give them for the grade for the season? Do you give this Cowboys offensive line an A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat box what you give this offensive line, right? Because they're supposedly, you know, they don't want to invest in 1st-round picks on the O-line anymore. But that's kind of been their bread and butter. That's kind of what's been saving Will McClay's job here. But even that's not working anymore. Look at Tyler Guyton, man. I said it a few videos ago when this dude got hurt. I said he's going to take his time. He's going to drag it out. He's going to go through. I mean, some of these other guys, you know, that really want to get out there, you know, they're gonna play through injury. And Guyton just had too many of these. He's milking it, bro. He's not gonna. They're talking about this dude might not even play the rest of the season because they're already saying Tyler Smith is probably going to stay at left tackle the rest of the season. That's what they've already said. So I feel like they're kind of low key giving up on this dude, on Tyler Guyton, man. So is there going to be another reshuffle? That's going to be a discussion for the offseason. Do you move Tyler Smith to left tackle, BB to guard, and then find another center? I think BB would be a better guard. I haven't really liked what I've seen from him from center. He's had some okay games, but he's not Travis Frederick. He reminds me of Tyler Biadasz. Like, he's okay. You know what I mean? He's a big dude, but still gets bullied around, and he can be upgraded. Booker, I think he looks promising. If he stays healthy and plays the way he's played, I think Booker's going to be one of the very rare Alabama O-linemen that has succeeded at the NFL, because most of them have been utter complete trash and bust at the next level. Booker has looked good this season. All right. And we know Terrence Steele, right? Get rid of him. Let him join McCarthy wherever McCarthy ends up landing this offseason. Terrence Steele sucks, dude. But which of the two evils is worse? Is Tyler Guyton suckier than Tyler Smith? Like, if you had to pick one to stick around, you know what I mean? And do you try to salvage Tyler Guyton and play him at right tackle? You know what I mean? I think you kind of have to try that. You know what I mean? If they're going to put Tyler Smith at left tackle, you need to try to salvage something. I mean, they held on to Mozzie Smith for damn 3 seasons, right? Pretty much. So I think Guyton is on his last. He's on his last string. I think next offseason could be it for him, dude. Like, it's just not looking too good. They should have drafted one of the stud centers that came out that season. I remember we were mocking, like, oh, let's get this center. But they went with Guyton. I'll never forget whenever they had the draft and they called his name. I was like, please, anybody but this dude. And then they drafted him, and I was like, fuck me, dude. You know what I mean? Shit's funny, dude. Let me know what you guys think in the chat box, bro. Let's see what the comments got here. Still has never been the same after his injury. Yeah, man, that definitely. It's like he fell off so much. Thank you, Danny. Zach Frazier, bro. That they should have took Zach Frazier, bro. Gosh, man, they royally fucked that up, dude. Yeah, that's another guy. That's another black guy on McClay. Yeah. Tyler Guyton got to stop shadow boxing in the rain and needs to squat right. I agree, bro. I thought that was goofy. And that was like the hype video, right? Like, they couldn't even make a good hype video for Tyler Guyton. They had the shadow box. He looked like he didn't look good, bro. I don't know what's gonna happen with that dude, bro. But I legitimately don't think he's into it. I don't think his head is into it. Tap out Tyler tap out. Starts getting beat. Comes up with an injury. All right. Let's see what kind of grades we got here for the O-line. We got a C- from Conference Sports Lounge. Okay. That's definitely fair. I think that's definitely fair. See what else we got here. Grades. C+. Tackles are weak. Yep. They are. The tackles are definitely the weak link here. Told French 7801 an F, gives him an F. Leo the Greek an F minus, the lowest of lowest there. Not just an F minus. So he's giving them the lowest grade you could give. Okay, so interesting there. See what else we got in here. Logan Paul over Tyler Guy. Logan Paul would win that too, man. Actually, Tyler Guy probably wouldn't even show up for the fight, dude. But yeah, man, the roadmap. You know what I mean? From a fan's point of view, they have to. If Jerry really wants to like take a different approach, they have to step back and hire a GM. And maybe they don't call him a GM. Maybe they just call him president of player acquisitions, or president of pro personnel, or something like this. Like, just give him some kind of name. It doesn't even have to be GM, but just let that dude, whoever it would be, and I have suggested Troy Aikman, right? Because I think he would still come in here and straighten this shit out. But somebody like that, man, because the path that they're on right now, it's not going to get it done. You know what I mean? They're going to come in here with the same approach, the same complacency, right? Like, how do you go to the Senior Bowl without even having your staff in place, bro? Remember last offseason, dude? They dragged their feet so much that we didn't have anybody at the Senior Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, it was just those goofballs. It was McBust, Steven, and Jerry. Those three-headed three stooges, as I like to always post that picture of them, where the three stooges are kicking the ball, and they're gonna hit the Curly's head or whatever it is. Like that's the image I have of these guys, man. And they didn't have the guy there. So are they gonna repeat that with the defensive coordinator? It might happen, because if we're wanting to go off of grab somebody off of one of these playoff teams, maybe it might happen. You know what I mean? But it better not happen like this one, where they just drag their feet and they end up hiring some like low-level fucking dude, man. Like, don't give me some no-name fucking dude, man. If Todd Bowles is available from the Bucks because of their epic collapse, get that guy. That guy knows defense. He's a Parcells guy, hard-nosed defensive coordinator. It could happen, man. I think the Bucks are kind of leaning towards. I don't know if Todd Bowles is safe, dude. Like, that epic collapse, like starting really hot, losing. I don't think it's a good look there. The time may have ran out there. So Todd Bowles has to be high on the list. Jim Leonard from the Denver Broncos needs to be high on the list. What's his name? The freaking Browns DC coordinator. He needs to be on the list there. There's a lot of guys there. I mean, even Al Harris, what he's learned, along the way, I think he's ready to make that leap as a DC. I mean, all these guys that I'm naming are 100 times better than what we have with Eberflus. You know what I mean? Like, I really hope that these guys are already looking at names, dude. I hope this isn't like they're just hanging out and fucking like gonna wait and then just try to pull a name out of the hat. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be a huge move, man. If they bumble that defensive coordinator hire, this season's already fucking over, dude. I promise you that, man. They have to nail it, dude. Like, they absolutely have to nail the defensive coordinator hiring, or we're gonna look at. We're going to be in the new age Dave Campo era, where it's losing season. You're going to start stacking losing season because the team's a freaking disaster. So, and quarterback's not getting any younger. There's just a lot that this team has to do, man. But what would you guys do, man? Would you guys? Okay, this is another good name. Yeah, I like. Yes. Brian Flores, he's on an expiring contract. So unless the Vikings extend him or give him a new contract, he's a free agent, right? So there's no, we have to ask for permission. There's no shit like that. We can hire him. That would be a good one. They're talking Aaron Glenn, right, Danny? So crazy as it sounds, the Jets, they might be one and done with Aaron Glenn. And he would be a good defensive coordinator. Sometimes these dudes are just way better at the coordinator position than they are a head coach. You know what I mean? But some of these guys, they still get second chances. I think Robert Saleh, they're talking about him being in the head coach circuit again. I don't think he's a good head coach. I think he's a really good defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? Who's the other fucking dude? There was another guy that's a good coordinator but a shitty head coach. Who was it? Was it Arthur Smith? I'm trying to remember who it was. I just read it the other day and I was like, what? He ain't no head coach. Raheem Morris is another example. Good defensive coordinator, not a good head coach. You know what I mean? Atlanta's totally fucked there. Yeah, I think they missed on Penix, and Raheem Morris isn't a good head coach. Raheem Morris, would they cut bait there? I don't know if I will. I don't know if I would be high on the list, but maybe you interview him. Yeah, Eberflus was Mike Nolan 2.0. He sure was, dude. Brian Flores, head coach. Eric Bieniemy's OC. Looks like a melted candle. Damn, Danny, that's pretty hilarious. Talk about the elephant in the room. When have you seen a black coordinator in Dallas? Yeah, I mean they have to. I mean, that's why I would love Todd Bowles to come in here, bro. He would be at the top. Brian Flores would be probably 1B as far as those dudes, and Jim Leonard. I think those three dudes would be at the top of my list. Yeah. Yeah, Saleh wants to be a head coach again, but I just don't think he has it, man. He seems too quiet, too finesse as a head coach. Defensive coordinator, I mean, he's good at that. He's good at what he does there, but I don't think he can. I just don't see him as the one that can take the whole team. Yeah, Ken Norton. I don't know if that he's that good of a coordinator. I think he's more like a good assistant. You know what I mean? He was there with Pete Carroll at USC, with the Seahawks. I think he's kind of bounced around a little bit, right? So I don't think he's ever gotten. I mean, I think he even got fired as the DC under Carroll. He was there with the Raiders. I forget where he's at now, but yeah. We'll see what names they bring in here. It better not be some unknown fucking dude though, man. You know what I mean? It's gotta be somebody that knows the modern NFL, some schemes, some disguises, some blitz packages. The thing about the Cowboys and Eberflus, when I knew we were totally screwed when this guy came out and said, we're gonna have to simplify the defense. Whenever you hear a freaking coach on offense or defense saying they have to simplify their system, it's over. It's fucking over, bro. That's the biggest red flag that you can hear from a play caller at any level. Once they say that simplifies shit, it's done, bro. You're cooked, as they say. And he said that shit early in the season. I was like, oh shit, we are royally fucked, bro. Oh man. Yeah. No, that is true. That's a fact there, right? Brian Flores got fired because they wanted him to lose games. And the owner said it was that's what I've heard too, man. So he didn't want to do that, and they got rid of him or whatever, right? That's why he sued the NFL. I'm all for these dudes suing the NFL, bro. Fuck Roger Goodell, bro. I can't stand that dude, man. I'm all for Brian Flores suing this freaking NFL. I'm all for Chucky suing the shit out of the NFL. Like, I can't stand Goodell, bro. I mean, did you see what they did to DK Metcalf? And they suspended him 2 games. It voided his $45 million guarantee because of this shit that he had, this incident he had with the fan. That's overboard, bro. Like Goodell has too much unilateral power, bro. Like Goodell, and then remember the shit he did to Zeke? And there's guys out here doing worse shit than Zeke ever did. And Zeke didn't even do anything. We got robbed. Zeke got robbed. I still feel like to this day, Zeke should have done some kind of, after he retired, he should have done some kind of civil lawsuit or some shit to Roger Goodell. He totally screwed him with that, man. I'll never forgive Goodell for that bullshit, dude. Goodell thinks he sure does, bro. We had to come up with a top 10 worst DC candidates list. Hey, that's not a bad idea, Danny, because this front office is so incompetent that you have to look at that, bro. You have to look at the illogical side of the coin, because the Cowboys and like the fans, I think we're pretty logical, like, hey man, we're tired of this shit. Give us something good. Cowboys, look at this shit. Let's look at some shitty candidates and, oh my goodness. That's funny, bro. That's pretty funny. And it's funny, but it's true. We actually should do that, bro. I think we might have to do this on one of our shows coming up. If Eberflus comes back, I'm off the bat. Dude, if Eberflus comes back, there legit needs to be people rioting and picketing at the Star, because you can't with a straight face bring this guy back and be like, okay, we're gonna make a run for the playoffs. That would just be insanity, bro. Joe, what about the quarterback? How do you feel about Dak? The way I feel about Dak, I think he's I don't think he's to blame for the season by any means. You know what I mean? But I'm on record as far as like, you need to start getting younger at the quarterback, because the window, and I've broken this down before, it is 27. And if you look at the quarterbacks that are going to be in the tournament, young guys. These teams that are clinching first round bye. Look at Drake May, Bo Nix, even Caleb Williams, right? And then you look at Seattle. I think Darnold is kind of in that range, right? So you have to get young there, and Cowboys, I don't think that they don't have the guys. I really feel like they're gun shy about it. You know what I mean? And that's another reason why they need to step back, hire a true talent evaluator who knows about quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Who has played the game. I think that's why John Elway had such great success. You know what I mean? He was able to be like, we're going to build this team. We're going to go get Peyton Manning, and we're going to build around this dude. And they had their run. You know what I mean? They won some Super Bowls, John Lynch, they've built a competitive team there in San Francisco, and Shanahan. You got to get young at the quarterback position. So I don't know how long they're going to hang on to Dak, but this is the fucked up shit about it, right? Like, Dak made it through the season without getting injured. Okay, what if we're having all this badass off season, and fucking we get our badass defensive coordinator, and then next season is the season that Dak gets fucking hurt, a clavicle or his back or some shit gives out, right? While 32 is young, in the quarterback sense, when you're looking at from the 2000s, it's rare that these guys win Super Bowls. That's an absolute fact. You go back and look at it. Matthew Stafford is one of the outliers here in recent years that was able to win it over the age of 30. So but if you look at all these younger guys that have won it, Jalen Hurts, Mahomes, I mean, just all these young dudes, they're in that range, 25, 27. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. You have a higher probability of going to the Super Bowl and winning it with a young quarterback. So, but do you trust this team in drafting a quarterback? You know what I mean? That they haven't drafted a first-round quarterback in the regular draft since Troy Aikman in '89, and then they got Steve Walsh in the supplemental, right, with one of those other first round. But it's Aikman in 1989 in the first round. That is another streak that is longer than the Cowboys Super Bowl streak. That is just crazy. There's no other team in the NFL that has a longer streak of not drafting a quarterback in their first round than the Cowboys. You know what I mean? So that is part of the problem there. And maybe you're gonna miss. And maybe you do draft the bust, but man, try. you know what I mean? Like, try, dude. I think next quarterback draft class is gonna be fun. This one is gonna be pretty weak for this upcoming draft. So I don't see the Cowboys taking anybody in the first round there. But you look at the next few couple of seasons, you're going to have some good quarterbacks that are going to be worthy of a high pick. So, you know, that was a long-winded answer there on how I feel about Dak. But I think he's good, but I don't know if he can get you to the next level. Like we saw the Detroit game, right? For example, that was a playoff pressure type of game. Cowboys had to have it on the road, playoff atmosphere. Dak didn't play good. The team didn't look good. It looked like how they look in the playoffs. They gave us a playoff performance, bro. That's the only thing that I have fear about is Dak winning these high pressure games at the next level of lights. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see what we have there. Cowboys not thinking straight. They haven't been thinking straight since the dawn of time. All right. Jet League 44. What's up, bro? What's going on, man? Good to see you in the chat box, man. Welcome, everybody. Talking about this, just 30th anniversary, bro. Like we're saying, like it's you have to look at the whole thing as a whole. More failures than successes. You know what I mean? I'm not sure. We have a whole range of age of fans, right? You know, I had a guy DM me, saying he was in the 70s and he couldn't believe, where we're at now. If you're in your 70s, that means you saw the Cowboys of the 60s, 70s, 80s, the 90s dynasty, the 70s dynasty. And then you get to this part of your fandom, and it's been 30 years of nothing. So it can happen quick, man. That 30 years went by quick, man. It went by like that, bro. Like, it could go another 30 years, and we're looking at 60 years. This could turn into one of those baseball type of deals, where you have like, the fucking, I don't know what some of them are, like the Cubs or one of these ones. It's 100 years since these guys have won some shit. You know what I mean? Like, it could get to that point, bro, where I would hope not, man. I hope my son is able to see the Cowboys win a Super Bowl because he's already in his almost mid-20s. I was 14. I got to see the Cowboys win a Super Bowl. I was 14 in my first one. Our son's already 24, almost 25, has yet to see an NFC Championship, a Super Bowl. We've gone to a couple of games, but to feel that as a fan, it's pretty amazing, man. When your team can win the big game, it's a good feeling, man. It's that's why we watch the game, man. We want our team to win, but 30 years, the proof's in the pudding, man. You know what I mean? So it's if they don't change what they're going to do this offseason, you can have a badass coordinator. You can have the number one offense. You got to supplement it with good free agency and good draft picks. You know what I mean? If they have to hit like on almost all the phases for this team to be competitive again, is basically what needs to happen. But to take it to that next level, to get to this team to the Super Bowl, they have to reorg the front office. And if they don't do it this offseason, then we're just gonna kind of, go through the same kind of motions that we've been going through. Like, we can win the East, we can clinch, maybe we get a first round bye, but then are we gonna choke it up again? You know what I mean? We have to change the front office culture. That's what's holding back this team, dude. Brian Schottenheimer, the whole thing this offseason was the culture. Yeah, you can fix that culture of the team, but the front office culture supersedes the team, the locker room. If this shit up here is fucking south of cheese, then this is going to be south of cheese, right? And this shit here, the front office stinks to high hell, dude. Like, it's not good, dude. They have to reorg that shit, bro, and put somebody else in charge and take the credit, bro. Like, Jerry should be humble and be like, hey, 30 years, we're going to do something else. And if this dude, whoever they hire, wins the Super Bowl, well, he can take credit, bro. He can be like, I get credit for doing this shit. If that's what it is. If it's an ego thing, but that's what it is, bro. Cowboys, 30th anniversary, bro. Before we cut out, guys, I want to know, in your opinion, do you think that do you think the Cowboys are gonna win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years? Maybe with Dak, maybe not with Dak. Do you think the Cowboys are gonna win a Super Bowl within the next 5 years? Let me know by saying yes in the comments or the chat box, or let me know if you say no. You know what I mean? Do you feel like we're gonna get one in 5 years? Yes or no? Let me know what you guys think. 5 years. It comes at a blink of an eye, right? In 5 years, just think about that, right? 5 years. Is Lamb going to be here in 5 years? I don't think so. He's going to be gone already. Some of these other guys that we have on here are going to be gone. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I feel that, man. I think that a lot of people just don't see it, in the short term. And then that 5 years can turn to another 5, and then there's 10. That's another decade. Like, they have to think about that shit, bro. Like, 5 turns to 10, 15, 20, and then we're sitting at 60 years, bro. Some of us will already be dead by then. Some of the older fan base. Oh man, it's crazy, bro. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens, guys. Let's see what happens this offseason. We'll keep covering the team. Hopefully we stay injury free these last few games. I hope they don't screw this up and get somebody hurt, man. So we'll see what happens, guys. But we'll keep talking Cowboys. We'll keep doing our Friday or Saturday night live antics Q&As. So make sure you guys come back for that. And I hope everybody enjoys their Christmas Eve and their Christmas. And I'll see you guys for the next video, guys. Peace out, everybody.